Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, and thank you for your comments. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. And one of the hot topics that's going on TikTok now is that they don't have air conditioning in the UK and they're undergoing a heat wave. But there are some reasons why they don't have air conditioning in the UK, but the people are now complaining about it. So I'm going to let you hear some of the things that's being said about them not having air conditioning, and then I'm going to give you some reasons why.
Did you know that most homes in the UK don't actually have any AC units? And this is because the temperature in the UK is pretty much moderate all year round, and it's very rare for air conditioning units to make sense.
But every summer, we get the same. People are dying in their homes because we're having a heat wave. Every summer. Let me say that again. Every summer. So next summer, they know it's going to happen again. They know it's going to happen the summer after that because they've seen what's happened in the last, decade. So at this point, there's no reason for them not to start making adjustments. And that includes putting air in their homes. And you can say, oh, we can't afford to retrofit all of these older homes with central heat and air. I grew up in a house in Kentucky with a window unit. We had a window unit. They can buy a window unit. Doesn't require you to change the specs of your house. And if their windows are different, but I don't think they are. I do think they have the sash that lifts up. But if not, there are also units that can be set on the floor and the pipe go out to the side of the window. There's no reason at this point. They know it's coming every year. Every year they know it's coming.
What comes across with the British is that they seem to think that they are being superior if they do the opposite of what Americans are doing. So if Americans have air conditioning, they feel like they're being superior if they don't have air conditioning. If Americans season their food, then they think their food is superior without seasoning, even though people say it's horrible. So whatever America is doing, in some cases, it seems like they think they're being superior to America if they don't do those things, even if their people are dying of heat in the summertime.
Air conditioning in the UK. So I've seen quite a few posts from people being like, why doesn't the UK just install air conditioning? So I'm Lacey, a Brit living in Orange County in Southern California, and I just wanted to kind of wade in on this debate because if you have ever lived or been in the UK in the height of summer, you will understand if you are inside a building. I'm not talking about outside heat. We've all been, I've been to Dubai when it's 40 degrees. I'm talking about inside heat, okay? Our houses are built to retain heat because it is cold in the UK for most of the year. And in order to save on central heating costs, we insulate our houses really heavily, especially new build houses. So when people are saying, why don't you just install air conditioning in the UK? There's a few things that you need to think about. One, to install air conditioning in a standard 3-bedroom house, you're looking at around about £40,000. We are not going to do that to all the new build properties in the UK. So every time we build a house, we're not going to put air conditioning in it to use it for 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of the year. It's just something that we're not going to do. It's a massive additional cost when our housing costs are already extremely high. So we're just not going to do that. And then to install it in a house already. So I asked my husband, how much do you think it would cost, he works in construction, to install air conditioning in a standard 3-bed house in the UK? He was like, to go through floorboards, walls, you're looking at around about £40,000. It's a big job. So I have a friend near the Valley in Los Angeles. She actually had her air conditioning redone and that cost her $25,000. So then I have people saying, well, just buy a portable air conditioning unit. Okay, so where do you want me to store that portable air conditioning unit for the other 47 weeks of the year that I'm not using it? We live in tiny houses in the UK. Lots of places don't have any storage or any garage, for example. And so yeah, there's like not really anywhere to store it. Also, our windows. So I, for example, lived in a renovated flat. It used to be a pub, a really, really old pub from hundreds of years ago, and then it was renovated into a flat or an apartment, and I had sash windows. So again, not so simple to just install air conditioning. I don't think that people who are commenting, being like, "Well, just install air conditioning in the UK," realise how much it would cost to install air conditioning for 70 million people in the UK. So the UK fits into California 1.5 times, and there are 70 million people. I think it's like 67 million people in the UK. It's just not reasonable. That is why we do not have air conditioning. It's not about anything other than cost and convenience of where the hell we would store air conditioning units. If and when we move back to the UK, I probably will buy an air conditioning unit. But for a lot of people, that is just absolutely not reasonable.
Well, I found that to be eye-opening, that cost is the problem with air conditioning in the UK. And there are other practical reasons why they don't have air conditioning in the UK. So I consulted my friend, the co-pilot, and this is what I discovered. The UK has traditionally had cool, damp weather with summer temperatures averaging between 55 degrees Fahrenheit and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Because of this, heating has always been a bigger priority than cooling. Okay, so that's some good reasons that they don't have the very hot weather that we have in the United States. At least they didn't. But now with this global warming, they are having this hot weather. Also, nearly 1 in 6 homes in England were built before 1900, and almost half were built between 1930 and 1982. These older homes weren't designed with air conditioning in mind and are often made of brick within minimal wall cavities, making retrofitting expensive and complicated. So, in other words, between 1930 and 1982, their homes were not even built for air conditioning. And now to go back and retrofit them would be very expensive. Installing AC in older homes can cost thousands of pounds, dollars in our money, especially when navigating existing plumbing and electrical systems. Electricity is more expensive than gas in the UK, making AC less cost effective for many households. So it's just too expensive. We get that. We get that. Air conditioning is often seen as a luxury rather than a necessity in the UK. Brits tend to rely on fans, open windows, and natural ventilation instead. But climate change is shifting things. With more frequent and intense heat waves, demands for AC is rising. Oh, listen to this. Less than 5% of UK homes currently have air conditioning, but that number is expected to grow. So while AC hasn't been a staple in the UK, the tide is turning. If the heat keeps ramping up, you might see more Brits swapping their tea for thermostats. Well, I wish them the best because a heat wave is a monster. And in the United States, we take air conditioning for granted. We see it now as a necessity, especially in some of these states where it really, really gets hot. But anyway, y'all, did you know that they didn't have air conditioning in the UK? Let me know what you think about this and how would you feel if you didn't have air conditioning. Thank you for listening. Have a good evening.